My aim for this video is to deliver it in such a way that someone, even if it's only one person, maybe is set free, receive some healing or some sort of understanding, right? So I'm constantly doing the inner work to make sure I have removed all blockages, barriers, memories, experiences that could possibly hold me back from the life I truly deserve, right? One of abundance, one of complete joy, one of amazing health, one of an exciting, passionate love life, one of success, all of that. So the other day, I had to, as I was going through my memory decks, right, going and pulling out the things that I no longer need, like the memories that no longer serve me, right, and it was placed on my heart to call my Uncle George, and just thank him, show him a little bit of appreciation. See, I was molested beginning at the age of 4 up until I was 10 years old, right? And so each time that I told on the person who had completely no self-control or dignity for that matter, I told. And each time I was heard, right? And I know that a lot of women don't have that story, that they told what was happening to them and they weren't believed. I've always been believed, never questioned or anything like that. So first time it happened, I was 4 years old, and I remember telling my aunt and my grandmother, and I can remember my grandmother calling them immediately without question, and was cussing them out and things of that nature, and I never saw them again. So it was as if they just did away with him, like he completely fell off the face of the earth. And I know that sometimes when you have a lot of children in the home and you got a friend of the family that comes over and they say, oh, let me help you guys out, I'll take little Tiana to get her some ice cream, right? Things of that nature. So that's how I was placed in that situation, but I told, right? I exposed them, I told, and I was believed, I was heard. The second time it happened, and this is the one where I had to thank my uncle for protecting me, right? There was a neighbor across the street. Not only was he was a family friend, he was my uncle's friend. Like we played over this boy's house, and his sister, him and his sister, we played over their house all the time. They always came over to ours. But he had me back behind the curtain, trying to do stuff to me. And so my uncle saw him and chased him out the house and up the street and then beat him up real bad, right? And so I thought, you know, it was on my heart to say, hey, you know what, I appreciate you for taking up for me, for protecting me in the way that you did. And he was like, oh my God, he was like, I don't really know how to feel. He was like, this just floored me. He said, I didn't even think that, you know, you remembered that. And I was like, yeah, I remember that. He was like, he was such a little girl. I said, I know. I said, but I thank you. I said, because it added on to who I am as a person, right? And so I was glad to have gotten that off, you know what I mean, my chest when it happened with my cousin. And I told my aunt. She believed me right away. I knew. She beat the black off that boy, right? Which was her son. So I've always been heard. Every time that I open my mouth, I've never been questioned, right? And so amongst me doing the work, I look at people's personalities and the way that they act, or react. And I think to myself, what happened in their childhood that is the foundation for how they react? Like, you know, you've got, I'm pretty soft spoken, and I can say that probably derived from two places. One, I don't have to do a whole lot of hooping and hollering, yelling, raising my voice, because every time I open my mouth, I'm believed. People believe me when I say things. I'm heard. So I don't have to get loud, right? And so I think that sometimes with people, you know, men and women, who are always the loudest ones out the group, very fiery, very rah-rah, ready to go all of the time. I'm like, man, I wonder who didn't listen to them when they were younger. And that's why now, you know, they're so loud and just rambunctious and all of those things. This is just my personal opinion, right? I do have a degree in mental health, so I know a little bit about some things, right? So, you know, I know that there's a lot of women who didn't have that privilege of being heard, right? And I know that there's a lot of men that have never told their stories. Sometimes we can get into the mindset and the thought process that, you know, being molested only happens to girls, but it happens to boys too, right? By men and women, but they don't have a whole lot of safe spaces to be able to say so. So, if that's you, you didn't have a safe space, I implore you to create one for yourself and move that energy through your body, baby, and release it, right? Release it. Release yourself from that bondage, right? And release the person who did it to you. I know it may be hard for some of you, but when you realize that that's how you take back your power and you stop being a victim to that experience, your whole life will change and turn around. So that's my gem that I'm dropping for you all today. If you see me looking over here, it's because, honey, I saw two small snakes in this water, and I'm trying to make sure they don't get to my feet, right? So I love you all. Please take care of you, because no one else can take care of you quite the way that you do. And until next time, I love you.